Thanks for joining today. My name is Dave Milano. I'm the CEO of REALTECH US. We are based in Malvern, PA. And today we'll be discussing how ServiceNow and DevOps for SAP can help deliver speed to the business, and also discuss how it'll help for your S4 projects. So REALTECH is a ServiceNow partner. We also have our own software solution for automated SAP change and transport management. And we'll talk about integrating those solutions and some of the things we've done for other customers in lessons we've learned through our projects. So today, if I could switch the slide. Today's agenda, we'll talk a little bit about REALTECH, the 3 transition scenarios when you do an S4HANA project, what is DevOps for SAP, and then how ServiceNow and DevOps can help deliver quicker changes to the business with an integrated platform. And then we'll do a little bit of a demo, some Q&A, and next steps. So we're going to try to keep this to 30 to 45 minutes with questions. I seem to talk fast, but feel free to jump in if there's any questions I can answer along the way. So with that, who's REALTECH? Right? REALTECH's been around for over 25 years. We are known in the market as the change and transport automation experts, as well as handling SAP or doing SAP migrations for customers. So we were founded in 1994 in Waldorf by 4 basis consultants right around the block from SAP, who really started the focus of the business on migrations and add-on products. We've had a SAP partnership for many years. Our solution has just been certified for S4HANA, which we're very excited about, and our product is ready for the future. In the US, we're based out of Malvern, PA, right around the block from Newtown Square, SAP's headquarters. We have 2,000 worldwide customers, 200 technical SAP architects and consultants, and we have trusted partnerships with very large companies like Microsoft, SUSE, I mentioned ServiceNow, and then amongst some other ones. So when you do an S4HANA project, there's really 3 different ways to transition to S4, and there's the new implementation, the greenfield approach. A lot of customers are doing system conversions, or there's the landscape transformation. With all 3 of those solutions or options, REALTECH can either help do the implementations, the system conversions, or the transformations on the, let's say, the services side, or we have software that when you build up these additional, let's say you're doing a system conversion or a transformation, and you need to add additional landscapes and keep track of all the transports and the changes moving through the environments, our software can help in those areas. So here's just another example of doing a data migration or landscape transformation using the migration cockpit from SAP. And then we'll talk about how does our solution help with these projects. Right? So if you're doing a new implementation or a system conversion, this is a simple use case, right? Where you have your ECC environment up top, you have your S4HANA landscape down the bottom, but you need to move transports from the ECC 6.0 side into the HANA side. That's where we call it SmartChange transport management module would come into play and help you manage those types of transports, along with workflow and approval steps, emails at the right time to the right people, as well as full auditing. Thanks. We have a full, I just moved my microphone a little closer there. So in the new implementation or system conversion case, you can use our transport management module to manage all your changes in your transports, or you could use our synchronization management module, which basically synchronizes the objects from your ECC 6 environment down to your S4HANA environment. So in an S/4HANA new implementation or system conversion, our tools are very helpful, and customers are adopting them to help manage, let's say, the chaos of a project like this. In a new landscape transformation, maybe you have different ECC 6 environments that you're converting into an S/4HANA environment. Again, our synchronization management tool will help you manage the objects between those different systems, and you could retrofit the ECC 6.0 objects up to the S/4HANA objects, S/4HANA landscape, and manage the transports with our solution. So just wanted to start off by giving you, everybody's talking about S/4HANA, everybody's talking about how to get there. I just wanted to start off by letting you know that our solutions are S/4HANA certified, and they can help during these types of projects manage all the different transports and the changes that are going to happen when you're doing these types of transformations. So what is SmartChange? Right? We call it a complete solution for SAP change control and DevOps automation. So with DevOps, it's how do we become more agile, and how do we make changes quicker into production while lowering our risk, and making sure that the business is getting what they need at a quicker time frame, but also lowering the risk that we have production issues, and making sure that everything is going in on a timely manner. So with our solution, we have 3 different modules. We have change process management. I like to call that the paperwork. So you can have a release down to a change request. In transport management, this is the ABAP solution that manages the transports and the objects and is integrated with change process management, to say that it's integrated but also modular. So we have a lot of customers who use crawl, walk, run methodology, and they may just start with transport management because they have a ServiceNow platform and they don't need the paperwork, right? Which is fine. We were seeing a lot of customers using transport management, which does the proactive technical checks along the way for collisions, overtakers, dependencies, critical objects. It sorts the order of the way the transport should go in, but also has workflow and automation to help along the way, right? So the right person gets the right approval for the right transport at the right time, and then some automated jobs within SAP will push it into the system, and we send emails along the way. In saying that, we have complete transparency and visibility from the top down about a change or a transport inside of SAP. And then with synchronization management, we can handle retrofitting of objects between dual landscapes. So if you have a production support landscape and a project landscape, and you're moving transports in both of those environments, you always want to retrofit your production support down to your project so that everybody's working on the let's say, the same version of an object before it goes to production. So a complete solution for SAP change control. So we talk a little bit about DevOps for SAP, right? So DevOps for SAP, we have not only the SmartChange solution from REALTECH, but we have other solutions in the whole value chain that we can help customers who are implementing DevOps within their environments. Some of those tools include, we have a monitoring solution. We also have some assessment services, and we base all these changes into a repository called the IQ library that we know about everything about the object, from creation to who the owner is, how many times it's been transported through the environment, all these other solutions that wrap around DevOps, which makes us a leader in helping customers with our solutions. So a little bit about, and today we're going to focus on transport management integrated with ServiceNow. So we're not going to talk about change process management, but transport management is centralized in Solution Manager. Oh, there's a typo there. Security is a single authorization object, independent of system or release, 7.0 or above, flexible approval workflows, out-of-the-box reporting, easily installed and configured, Simple to use, we say we have customers with 2 landscapes or customers with 40 landscapes running our solution. So scalable for simple or complex environments. So if you're starting small with SAP, you're always adding more. With our solution, we would grow with you along the way. Some of the features or proactive technical checks within the tool, return code forecasting, where you're looking at dependencies within transports and making sure they have to go in together to ensure a successful return code. You can do that ahead of time with our solution. Packages or bundling of transports. So one approval for 500 transports or 1,000 transports versus single approvals for individual. Cross-system object locking, dependency options, where you can create predecessor or successor relationships between transports. TM attributes, additional information. So if you want to attach something or have a link, a lot of our clients are doing a simple integration with transport management and maybe ServiceNow, where they're just putting the link on the release point of the ServiceNow request, and it gets pulled into our tool. And that way there's sort of a soft integration between ServiceNow and TM, where at any moment you could go in and do a search within our SmartChange solution for change CRQ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and get all the transports that are related to that change request. So you can repeat imports, reject or revoke transports, tracking information down to the object level. I'm big on this because we're very granular with that, and it's all stored in our IQ library. So we're not only tracking the transport, we're really looking at the objects within those transports and when they move through the target systems, the quality, the pre-prod, the production, to ensure that if they do go in, they don't overwrite something, and they go in the right sequence along the way. So we also have a proposal feature. Maybe you have a transport or a change that has 1,000 objects. You really don't want that to go in during the normal business hours, but you want it to go in at 7 o'clock at night. There's a feature within the tool to handle that as well. So some of the key features in the tool: centralized access to all transports, proactive collisions, critical objects, return code forecasting, event-driven email notifications, complete history for auditing and reporting. So let's talk about ServiceNow and DevOps and how an integration between these two applications will create a parent-child relationship and help you manage these changes a lot easier, right? So everyone knows SAP is its own little animal, pretty much. So anything outside of SAP is done via spreadsheets or in a different application, and there's really no link between the outside change management software and within SAP. It's always done in two separate, let's say, either SharePoint, Lotus Notes, or two separate entities, let's say. So with our solution, we're able to integrate the two ServiceNow to SAP to our transport management piece or module. And what we're saying is a lot of customers we see are not really worried about the quality part of it. Again, we can integrate before it goes into quality, but they're really focusing on when the change goes into production, right? So in our first step, and I'll show you this in some of the other slides, what we would see is when you release a change or a transport in SAP, you get a pop-up that shows you ServiceNow requests in the different statuses. And it's all programmed by a back-end table that we say, okay, for ServiceNow, we want people to be able to associate transports to a change request in a work-in-progress status. Well, in the first step, we would pop up a box that shows you all the changes in work in progress, and you're able to associate your transport to that change. Once it goes into quality, uses our solution, automatically gets imported, emails are sent to the right people, then it goes to the production side of things, where when it reaches signature, which is a status within our tool, someone that needs to make an approval, you're able to either make an approval inside of our tool that'll go up and check the ServiceNow request and make sure it's in the right status. Or in some customers, we've actually said, you make the approval in ServiceNow. It comes down to the SAP level within our tool, makes the approval, and if it's in the right status, we'll allow it to go into the system. If it's not, it pops up an error message. So in this next screen, I'm just showing you on the release point. You would get a screen like this where it shows you the change requests and certain information about that change request, but maybe it's a work in progress or an open status. This is all, it's not customization, it's configuration within our REALTECH solution. So it's very simple for you as a customer to say, you know what, maybe I want relevant for validation to be a different field. Let me just go, at basis, go to the backend table, change the description, and it'll start pulling that information. Very simple within our solution. So this is sort of, you would release a transport, see this window, and you're able to get all the information and add the change number with all the relevant information to the transport before it's released. So that ensures that there's an integration between a change request and transports within SAP. And here's where it integrates. Sorry. Here's where it integrates on the SAP level. Underneath the request attributes, you'll see the change request number. But then within our tool, you'll see the change request gets pulled into our solution to what we call a TM attribute. And you're able to filter on this attribute and get all the transports that are associated with that request. The next is, okay, it's already inserted into the tool, it's been released. Now we're inside of TM and we're making an approval. And it's going to check back to the ServiceNow request and ensure that it's in the right status. If it isn't, you would see a pop-up like this, status not valid. Successful checks will continue and be imported into the system. So the way this is done is a simple RFC connection within SAP over to your ServiceNow system. And then with our solution, SmartChange Transport Management, which comes in its own namespace, has its own tables, its own user, own RFCs. We don't rip out or replace anything you have. We're able to configure this, not customize it for your ServiceNow, let's say, process that you're doing today. So again, we don't come in and say you should do it this way. We're taking your existing process, integrating it into SAP, into our tool for a less training aspect for your business, because they're already using ServiceNow. We don't want to change any of that. We're just going to have the technical users inside of SAP, inside of our solution, and have the business users inside of ServiceNow using the change requests and statuses. One thing we've had some other customers do is that after the transport or the change gets imported into the system on the SAP side, we can write that information back to a specific field inside of ServiceNow that gives you the return code, the date and time, the user, all that information can get logged into an activity log. So this is just a simplified workflow between SAP and ServiceNow. Maybe you open up the change request. Once you open up the change request and select SAP in the ServiceNow, it can go ahead and create the transport request. Then you finish your development. These are statuses, let's say, inside of ServiceNow. Once you set the finished development, it releases the transport. So inside of SAP, then on the review status, it's really being managed into QA. And then when you approve the change, it really imports the transport into our solution. So we're really making two applications, one with our integration between these two tools. So we know ServiceNow is becoming very big in the market. A lot of enterprise and even small, medium, and large customers are going to ServiceNow. And we think our solution is a perfect fit to help from a compliance standpoint, manage SAP changes and transports within the multiple SAP environments. So with that, I'm just going to touch on a brief demonstration and show you sort of what we built before for a client. And if there's any questions, feel free to just jump in. But so here I have my ServiceNow side. I created a change request. Once I'm in the change request, I name it, right? And it's in an open status. I go over to my development system. Sorry about the clicks. I create the transport. Once I create the transport, I don't have to put the name in there. I'm doing this for the demo purposes. But here's where you would see the change incident or problem side pop up with the certain requests in different statuses. And you're able to drag and drop your change request over underneath the change. We've since updated this with the slides I showed you in those screens. So we can do it either way. But once you find your change request, you assign it from the right side to the left side, and then confirm it, and it'll be assigned to the transport under request attributes. Excuse me. Under request attributes in the change ID number. Yep, there it is. Okay. Then when you release the transport, here is where our transport management tool comes into play. And you're going to see a series of projects and destinations. So here's our tool, transport management. You'll see the project is ECC support. The destination is ECC. But you can imagine, this is done from a solution manager standpoint. So we would connect all your environments, or maybe 2 or 3 environments, and you would see project destinations, maybe ECC underscore finance, ECC underscore MM, ECC underscore PP. And then those would go to different approvers along the way, and emails would be sent, and then they would approve for their specific transports within SAP. But this is really the REALTECH pop-up that happens. So a developer, all they need to know is which, let's say, bucket do I put the transport into, and they'll know it'll automatically route to the appropriate approver. Okay. So here I go ahead and I select I'm just going to fast forward just a little bit. We're just drilling down, just showing you it's going to go into the KEQ system, that client, the KEP system. You don't have to drill down that far. You select the destination and you hit the add to TM button. Once you hit that, the transport is loaded into Solution Manager, into our dashboard. So standard SAP releases the request like normal. We go over to Solution Manager, we log in, we have our own transaction. Okay, we go to the monitor screen. This is our main screen. We go to the signature step, and our transport that we released is in signature. Here's where we're going to show you that we pulled in the attribute as a TM attribute for the ticket ID. So you're always able. You guys aren't seeing my screen, are you? You guys see my screen or no?
Yeah, your PowerPoint's there.
Okay, so so you were seeing the video, right?
Yeah, it was there.
Okay, cool, thanks. Sorry, I got like 3 screens here. Okay, so here's the change request. I'm going to go ahead and I can right-click, make an approval, or I can use the button up top. Once I do that, it goes and does a web service call in this example, or an RFC call out to ServiceNow to see if the request is in the right status. So you can see that this change is in a black status, meaning that we did a check that it's in the right status, and we're going to allow the approval to happen within our tool. I'll show you in production when it isn't in the right status. So here, I get the change request. I'm also able to, let's say this change request got canceled in the middle of the process, and you wanted to change to a new change request. You have the ability to do that with the right, let's say, authorizations. We wouldn't let a standard user go change the change request in the middle. This is tied to a user group within our tool, and if you have the right credentials, you would be able to change the change request. Let's say if the one that was out here got canceled during the way or something. So here, I go ahead and approve it. What happens is it drops from signature to current. It's waiting for an import job to push it into the system, an automatic import job. It gets imported into the system. We have all the information about the transport, the SID, the client, the return code. Now, the cool part for me is we can go back to ServiceNow. It gets moved down to the right status inside of our solution automatically, but we can go back to ServiceNow. And once we pull up the action log, we're able to see all the information about the request, right? So it was created, it was released, it was approved, and then it was imported with this return code. So as I mentioned before, the business users can really focus and stay inside of ServiceNow, while the, let's call it the technical move machine, the SmartChange transport management, moves the transport into the system and reports all the information back up. So it's really a one-stop shop for compliance and auditing, where all the data is captured within ServiceNow. So with that, we come back to transport management. We'll move it. It's sitting at production now. So it's been tested. It's ready to go. It's in signature, waiting for its final approvals. In this example, we have two approvals, a content approval and a technical approval, which is the final approval before it moves down to current and gets imported into the system. We do content approval, nothing happens. When we do a technical approval, this is where we see the additional pop-up. We do the check again. It looks okay, right? But what we're going to do is go back to ServiceNow and change the request. So let's go back to ServiceNow, change the status from open to closed incomplete, save it. Now we'll go back to TM, sort of just doing a negative test here. And now you can see that it goes from a black status to a red status. And if we hit OK here, we get an error message. So again, we just did a negative test, but you can see that if change requests go through different statuses along the way, and if it's not matching what we have on our side, we will not allow the transport to go into the system, right? So let's go back and we'll change the request to the correct status. Or here, I'm just changing the assignment to maybe a different one. Yep, I'm going to assign the new ticket, which is 330. Sure, that's good. I'm sorry, I just changed it back. Okay, I change it back to work in progress or approved. Update it. Okay, now I'll go back to TM. I just do a refresh and it pulls up the right number and it approves it, right? So now it's ready. So within our solution, signature means it's waiting for one or more approvals. Current is our approvals are done. It's waiting for the job to push it into the system. So in this case, we had two approvals for production. We got both those approvals. It did the checks in ServiceNow. It drops down to current and waits for your weekly import job into the system. So once it gets imported into the system, now we can go back to ServiceNow and we can look at the activity log again, and it shows all the information about not only quality, when it got imported into quality, but also when it got imported into production with dates and times and everything's tracked and logged. You can see this is a little old, but we've been working, it just shows how long we've been thinking about doing ServiceNow and TM integrations since 13. So we think we're sort of the pioneer with integrating these apps and having the top-down visibility from ServiceNow into our SmartChange solution. So with that, that's the end of our demo today. I'd like to open it up for any questions, or we can talk about, we will be sending the slides out, updating this video to YouTube, and then sending it out to everybody and following up for a deeper dive into our solutions if you're interested. So with that, if there's any questions, feel free to answer, to fire away. Okay, I don't think there's any questions. So with that, I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much. And we'll be following up shortly. Have a great day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.